Hello, you lovely, lovely people. Uh, just a little update, and it is a little update because there's nothing more that's happened apart from my wife's been to an attorney to review the deed and the transfer documents. Um, and what that does, it just verifies the signatures and the notarization and things like this, just to make sure it was done properly. And the paperwork is left now with the attorney. So, anyway, what they've said is to my wife, they've said to her, they get this quite often. Okay, it's a common thing apparently when someone leaves the land to like a member of the family, and the other members who weren't left anything, they cause a problem. And the attorney has told us to, or my wife, to set boundaries. And she said that because her grandmother left her the land, she doesn't have to justify it to her family who are all of that. But as the attorney said to my wife, and it was difficult for me because I'm sat there and I don't know what's going on because they talking in Visaya and then little bits in English. So I'm just reading between the lines and I'm just telling you what my wife's told me. But because my wife talks to me in kind of, I don't know, Filipino English, she tells me things and then I have to guess the rest. I have to guess the rest. Anyway, so she said you got to focus on the facts. Focus on the facts. Well, the facts is her grandmother left it to Mira. Now, the paperwork's got to be all, it's got to be checked properly. But a quick look over it, and it's looking good. It's looking good. But when you're in a situation like this, all the legalities of things, it doesn't really matter because there is emotions involved in all of this from everyone involved. And everyone involved is me and my wife and them lot. I'll say them lot because they are just being total twats. And my wife tried to give respect, but it's difficult. It's difficult in a situation like this. And so I said to my wife, be firm. You've got to have respect, but be firm. You can't bow down to their commands. But it's just a difficult situation, people. Like I just, the comments that I got off of like a lot of you guys, and thank you for the, for the great comments, that we were getting. And I was reading them to my wife, the comments. Or she was there looking herself. And it seems to me that they are not entitled to anything because it. And I said to my wife, I said, what you should be doing as well, or I advised her, I didn't tell her, I advised her that this was your grandmother's wishes. But as Mira said, they won't care about that because they didn't get on with the grandmother in the beginning, in the first place, which was why this land was left to Mira, because Mira was the person who she brought up. Her grandmother brought her up from a very early age, and obviously my wife took care of her. Now, what we have to do here, or don't have to do, but just out of goodness, I think, is get some kind of mediation, because it's pointless my wife going down there and chatting and this and that, and it's pointless me getting involved. And I'll tell you something else that they said as well. They said to my wife that because she's with me, a foreigner, that she doesn't need the land. This is what they said. You're with a foreigner, you don't need the land. Now work that out. So does that mean that if she wasn't with me, there would be no arguments? And I said this to my wife and she said, no, it would just be exactly the same. They just clutching at straws and using everything that they possibly can to fire at her, Mira. Now, finding a mediator. Well, there is not a mediator involved here because all of the family are against her. The only ones that have not said anything is the uncle and the auntie who was asking, who I used to give money to, stopped it. They are not getting involved. And they even said to Mira to give them a piece of land, for those just to build a little house on, which is fair enough. Mary doesn't mind that at all. But then how do you do that without giving every single person of the family pieces of land to build their house on? And then how would you sell the land if there's houses dotted here and there and everywhere? So this is an ongoing thing, people. But like I've said, it doesn't really matter when when there is money involved, how these, and it's not just from the comments that I've been getting, it's not just here, it's all over the place, all over the world. But if it's legal and it's above board, and all the documents were signed correctly, and everything is in place, where they review everything, the deed and the transfer, then there is absolutely nothing that they can do. Legally wise. Now, this is the problem. What will they do behind the scenes? I mean, this backstabbing and, what will they do? Jackie. And this is what Mira is concerned about. Now, there's been a few of you that said, donate some to a church. Now, my wife, after reading all that, she said, well, she could do that, but then what would the church do with it? Because it's so far off the beaten track. But that would be an option. That would be an option, is to give some to a church. And to keep some for our kids. Well, we've got Kaylin now and the one that's on the way. So that there will be something for them. Because the land will probably only appreciate in the future. I don't know, because you don't know what they're going to do there in the future in this particular part. At the moment, it is quite remote, but they've just recently been putting in internet, the PLDT, and there's now like a proper water supply from the barangay that feeds up there. And now there's like a concrete road, which the people there call it a highway. Like some subscribers actually said it's not a highway, it's a road. And it is a road, but they call it a highway. And I've just took that terminology. But it is a road, yeah. And, it's all right, many people saying, I wouldn't give them anything. And quite rightly so in some ways, but I don't think that's the correct thing to do. I think the correct thing to do is to give them something and let them argue over it. Let them argue it over themselves. Because the attorney said to Mira, she said, if it's too bad, which it is now, just disassociate yourself from them. Don't get involved, because it's becoming hostile. It's becoming hostile. And my wife even said to the attorney that they said, you shouldn't have the land because you were the foreigner. And the attorney was just like, this is Filipino. This is how they think. This is how they think. But Mira is protected legally, which is the main thing. Now, we don't know where to go from here. We simply don't know where to go. My wife is very concerned about these spells, and there's a few comments that said, "Oh, you believe in spells? How ignorant," or something like that. And people who don't understand how the Philippines works with the superstitions that they have. I mean, my wife is very superstitious. No matter what you say, if it's real or it's not, like, that's her feeling. And she has this thing round her neck, and it's like a round. It's made of some kind of special wood, and it's got like a little piece of string, and she wears that religiously. That never comes off, whether she goes in the shower or anything. That never comes off. So my wife is more concerned about these so-called relatives of hers casting spells or making bad of the situation because of what they haven't got. It's just a terrible situation, to be in, people. And to be totally honest with you, this is how I feel. This is how I feel. I wish that she didn't get the land in the first place. This is just me thinking, because don't forget, she's pregnant. And she's only 2 months, maybe 9 weeks, so she doesn't need this. This is like a crucial part, isn't it? The first 3 months. So she doesn't need all this. And I keep saying to me, well, just try not to worry. It'll figure itself out. It'll work itself out. And she says, yeah, but the messages. I said, well, just block them all. Block them. And then she said, well, they might come here. I said, well, if they come here and cause trouble, I'll just call the police. It's very simple. Very simple. And it might... Someone said, in fact, it was my neighbour, said that it could be an idea to go down and just say to the barangay captain here what's happening, in case they do turn up here and cause a stink where it's been noted in the barangay. So perhaps I'm going to do that today. And people, and to top it off, got to show you this. I'll walk this way. To top it off, this is just my luck. This is my luck, people. Where am I going? I've got to watch this gimbal because it's got a mind of its own, this gimbal. It just spins around wherever it wants. The van, we were going to go out and you can see all the cardboard on the floor where the mechanic's been. It wouldn't start, and I took the... it cranks, it cranks, but it won't start. And I thought, first thing, check the fuel. No fuel coming through. So, as you can see, people, fuel tank, can you see? Fuel tank is in the back. He's in the back. The mechanic's been, he's took away the fuel tank and the fuel pump, which is inside the tank. Would be, wouldn't it? It's my luck. It's not like an inline one, it's inside the tank. So he's took that to Dipolog to see if he can get a new fuel pump for it inline. It's just my luck, people, isn't it? It's just the luck that I have. Like I said before, I've got lots of luck, but it's always bad. Look. Oh, God almighty. Everything's upside down. All the bloody... Yeah, oh, man. I can't really show you, actually. The engine, all inside of it. All the fuse boxes are out where he's checking all that. Can you see? I don't know if you can see. Oh, I don't know. It doesn't matter anyway, does it, really? It's just my luck. It's just my luck. And we was going to go to the laundrette just to pick up the bedding, because the bedding's been done. My wife, she does things by hand, but the bedding in the laundrette. But yeah, people, so that's the state of affairs at the moment. There's no real news, really, but the good news is Mira doesn't have to give them anything, because the deed of sale, the transfers, the names, the signatures are all good. So, yeah. But the paperwork now is with the attorney, because she's looking over some little bits and pieces in there, but she said, from the look of it, it's all good. Oh, what's happened here? That's it. It looks good, and it looks like she doesn't have to give something by law. Because this was done while her grandmother was still alive. It wasn't done like sort of in a will and testament. It was done before. The grandmother was a very wise lady, I think. And it was strange how these... I mean, I didn't know Mira then. Her grandmother died before I even knew Mira. But it was strange when Mary, she used to talk about all this. And it's strange how Mira never really talks about her family that much. There's one sister that she talks about. But that's it. She doesn't talk about the cousins and this and that and her nieces and the nephews. Because don't forget, my wife comes from a big, big family. And she talks about her mum and dad sometimes. And her mum and dad haven't said anything. That's a strange thing as well, But we never hear from Mira's mum and dad anyway. Very rarely. But if it was me, it's not my land. I can only support my wife in her decision. But if that was me, do you know what I'd do? I would keep something for the kids, when they get up, and I would donate everything else. I would donate the lot. I would give it to a church or someone like that. I mean, I wouldn't donate it to people, of course I wouldn't. Organise a church. And that might happen yet. I don't know, it depends on my wife. But keep something back for Kaylin and the child that will be born, all being well. Fingers crossed, there's no problem, but I just want her to stop worrying. But that's it, people. I just thought I'd give you a little bit of an update. It's not that much of an update, but I just thought I would keep you in the loop. And whatever my wife decides next, I will also keep you in the loop with that as well. Thank you, people, for your support and for the great comments. Whatever you're doing, take good care. Thank you.